Hi guys, welcome to SMI Hub. My name is Julie, and here on this channel we talk about everything that has to do with studying and immigrating into Canada. So today I'll be talking about something that cuts across all North America: how to obtain scholarship for funding your program, whether it's a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD. If you're interested in this kind of content, stay tuned. First of all, I will just be talking about the different types of scholarship. There's external scholarship, there is internal scholarship. So external scholarship, that's what I'll start with. And it's the scholarship, just as the name implies, that you get from outside your institution or you outside your potential institution. So for this kind of scholarship, you want to start sourcing for it even before you get your admission. Usually the scholarships come out around April, sometimes before April, and sometimes they are closed by like May. I mean, a scholarship that you're meant to use starting September. So you want to really be on the lookout way before you start to make your admission, or even around that period when you start to submit applications everywhere. And another thing about them is that they are very competitive. So because thousands, even millions of students are eligible for this scholarship, so they are really competitive, and they are often merit based. So the round table or the committee or whoever that sits on the table to analyze these admission applications or these scholarship applications, they often evaluate the submissions on a merit-based situation. So you want to make sure that you are very competitive. You know, I find out that many people waste a lot of money applying to these very highly prestigious scholarships. I'm not discouraging anyone from doing it, but I just want you to know that you need to take your own circumstance into consideration. So if you know you are a very competitive applicant, and you know that you definitely know it when you're competitive, right? When you have the grades, you have the extracurricular activities and all of that, then you might want to apply for this scholarship, especially if they often do not come with a fee, right? So beware of scholarships that come with fees. So oftentimes people carry out a lot of scams in this area. So when you see scholarship where you have to pay, beware, because most external scholarship do not. In fact, all the scholarships I've come across does not require payment. So be very careful when you see a link that is suggesting to you that there is a scholarship where you have to pay and all of that. So, but the thing is, these scholarships are often very intensive to apply for. So you have to really make the application very strong, and you have to spend a lot of time. So they are time consuming. So before you waste your effort applying for random external scholarship, make sure you consider if you're competitive. That's just what I want to say about that. And here in Canada, I'm going to really be using Canada as a case study because I'm very familiar with the Canadian terrain, especially with admissions. So here in Canada, there are a couple of them. There's the Vanier Canada Graduate Scholarship, very prestigious and very robust. So you get a lot of money, right? And then you get a very good buffer to your CV. So it's good, it's prestigious, and there's Ontario Trillium scholarships, and there's Pierre Elliott Trudeau scholarships, and all these scholarships are also targeting international students. So your status is not a limitation. For the purpose of this video, I'll really be focusing on international students because you guys are my target group. I've been through that situation, I've been there, and I'm still there. I'm still a student, and I know how it is really trying to thrive in a foreign country. So I'll be really targeting you guys. So all these scholarships are also they also take international students as well. And how do you find external scholarship? You use Google. So Google, in this case, Google is your friend. Honestly, you're going to just want to search and keep searching. Go online. There are websites that churn out different scholarship opportunities, so you want to take a look at those kind of websites. Many of these websites allow you to subscribe. So I did that when I was actively looking for scholarship before I started my program or before I even applied for my admission. So I was always on the lookout for this kind of website. I think there is findaphd.com. There are some African websites as well. So there are different kinds of scholarships. So you want to subscribe to this website so that they keep giving you alerts of these scholarships as they come up. And another reason why it's good to subscribe is because sometimes these scholarships are open for a very short period of time, so you don't want to come late to the party. If you subscribe on to this website, you get your alert on time, and timing really matters for them. Timing is essential. Also, you have to start checking for this scholarship before you apply for admission, because many of them many times the application for this scholarship often overlaps with application for admission, so you don't want to miss out on something that you would have been eligible for, or you would have even been competitive enough for, just because you came in late. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why it's good to subscribe. And now I'm going to just move to the next set of scholarship, and these are internal merit-based scholarships. So internal scholarships are I like them because they are very they are less competitive, of course, because they cater to only people from the university or people from that institution. So a fewer number of applicants apply to them, unlike external scholarship that everybody from around different universities apply to. But I kind of separated them from the other type of internal scholarship because they are merit-based. So they also involve some sort of competitiveness, you having the right publications, depending if you're applying for a master's funding or for a PhD funding. So also for bachelor's degree programs, you also get a lot of this internal merit-based scholarship. But one thing about them is that they are often available after you've gotten your admission. So most times you're unable to apply for them before admission. And for people that don't have funding already from the department, they have to actually pay the tuition, start the first semester, and then they will now start looking for this kind of scholarships to apply for, as some people get these scholarships and then their second year or their third, if they are a bachelor degree or a PhD student, becomes covered by this scholarship, right? So that's the downside with it, is that you can't secure it most times before you start schooling. There are some internal merit-based scholarship that get advertised before you start schooling, so you can also be on the lookout for that. And how you can check is to check your departmental website and your school website. I found out that so many people do not check their school website. There's usually a field on the school website that says funding. Some says fees and funding. You want to always check that section. Always check it. They update that section regularly with scholarships. Some of these scholarships are internal based, but you have to apply for them. And some of this internal based scholarship, the department has to nominate you. So it depends on the circumstance. But as I said, they are easier to get because once you are in the school, you qualify for a lot of them. As a matter of fact, like 60% of this scholarship requires that the department that you are in nominates you. So the department will collate all the students that they've admitted, and then they will look at them merit-based, right? So they will look at their grades, look at all the things they have, and then choose the best of them and nominate them for this internal merit-based scholarship. So how you can be on top of your game is to always check your departmental website and also your school website for these types of funding. And then the next one I want to talk about is the internal need-based scholarship. And I separated them from the merit-based because it's need-based. Some of this internal-based scholarship you apply for, while some of them you are automatically enrolled for because you've shown a basis of need. Some of them are bursaries. Like in my school, there are bursaries that come out towards the end of the fall semester that you can apply for if you are in need. So for these scholarships, you have to show your T4 slips, your tax return slips, your income, your earnings, and your expenses, and they will be the judge of how much they think they can give to you based on that. And there are people that miss out on this. They just don't apply for them. Some people don't even know they exist. So always, you need the money, right? If you don't need the money, you won't be here watching this video. So always make sure you check for bursaries and need-based scholarship regularly, and they're often on your website or on your personal student account. There are times when you open your personal student account, you would see clickable links that some will be on funding, some will be on a funding application, some will be on bursaries. So just take note of these things and always be informed, of this, as they come out. Make sure you apply for them. Now, there are some people that they know about it, but they always forget to, because they have a short opening time, right? And then they close before you forget. So what I do is, whatever money I see around, I must get it. As long as I'm eligible for it, I try to get it, because these pockets of fun add up. So once I know that a particular scholarship comes out around a particular period, as soon as it comes out, I apply. I just take that time out to apply. And then once I apply, I know I've applied. All I'll get is my feedback and hopefully the funding, right? So make sure you apply as immediately as it comes out. And for many of these, because they are internal based, you don't need to start showing transcript. All you just need is to show like a transcript from your school that you can easily generate. I remember there was a scholarship I applied for. One of the reasons why it's an external scholarship. I was already a student here in Canada by that time. And one of the reasons why I was considering not applying for the scholarship was because it mentioned that I had to get my transcript back from back home, because I just started. So I did not have grades already from the university where I was here in Canada. So it wanted me to get the last 2 years, meaning I have to contact them back in Nigeria and get the transcript, and it just really put me off until someone told me so that I can walk up to the transcript office in my university in Canada and ask them for a copy of my home country transcript, just because I had already sent it to them before I started schooling. So they have a copy of it and they can send it to the scholarship list without me having to pay thousands of naira to retrieve my transcript from back home. So these are options that you have. You can walk up to I believe it's the same everywhere else. So you can walk up to your transcript office and just tell them that you want to make an application, and that can they just send your home transcript to that scholarship, right? So always consider your options and don't just get discouraged. Many times this money, as I said, they often add up. Okay, so I moved to internal graduate funding, and because this is so important, this is 80% of PhD students are being funded by this category of funding. 80%, okay, don't let me say 80, 60% of master students are being funded by this category of funding, and that's the international graduate funding. That's the funding that your department provides. That's the funding that your school provides to you as a graduate student to do your master's or to do your PhD and to carry out research. So the way you can get this funding is by securing a supervisor, and it's so important. That's why I did a separate video for this. You want to check it out. I will link it in the description box, and it's about how to get a supervisor to fund your program. Most times people are not able to even get full funding with their program just because they can't secure a supervisor. So it's a separate thing, and that's why I made a separate video. It involves you sending an email. Just keep sending to potential supervisors, but you get someone that will say, okay, you know what, I'll take you. And then once you get that, things become really easier. You've gotten a foot in the door, and then you will now gather all that you have and apply, because you already have the word of that supervisor. It doesn't mean that you will definitely get the admission, but the probability is high that you get the admission. And almost all schools that I know give full funding to a student that has a supervisor and has the admission, right? So because the supervisor has a grant that will cover your research, so your research is covered, and then the supervisor also has a grant through the department that covers your tuition and living expenses. You get to also get a job, perhaps as a teaching assistant or as a research assistant, and then you earn stipends monthly to cover your living expenses, and everything is basically covered. Of course, you won't be the money that you get for the stipend is not a lot. So most times it's just enough to cover maybe a shared apartment or something. That's why I encourage people that are married to come with their spouse, so their spouse can work to support the family and to support the kids. But if you're not married, if you're single, you should be able to live fine on that as long as you share an apartment. Some universities offer very robust funding. Okay, so you can also try to evaluate universities by determining the one that you feel will offer you a very good package. So you can shortlist with that before shortlisting with supervisors, right? And most times this is often like the baseline of what you get, so you can get more scholarships on top of it. Just as I've been mentioning all the different types of scholarships that there are, you can get all of this in addition to this graduate funding, and then at the end of the day you have enough to live off, you and your family. So it's the international graduate funding. So just check out my video where I outlined how to get a supervisor and then how to get your funding, which comes with the admission package. But one thing I want you to know is that you have to make yourself competitive for a supervisor to even consider you. So in your email, make sure you attach everything, your transcript that shows your grades. Hopefully, if your grades are very good, that will stand out. If you don't have very good grades, other things can help you, not only in getting your supervisor, but also in getting the admission, right? Because they will consider you with other applicants. So even after you've secured a supervisor, you are still going to be considered along with other applicants. That's where all the things you have comes into play. So you want to make sure, I always advise potential graduate students, especially international students, to do the English proficiency exam. That's the IELTS or the TOEFL. I have a video on how to make a very high band, or how I made a very high band on the IELTS, so I will link that in the description box as well. So I advise them to do these exams because they open you up. There are some universities that require that you have to have a minimum of whatever, maybe a 7 or something, to be able to qualify for a teaching assistantship, and that's the source of your livelihood, like your stipend, right? So in my case, I just did it. There are times when you have the option of asking your university back home for a letter that shows that you studied in English language, and that can help you waive the TOEFL or the IELTS requirement. But sometimes it gets very tricky, sometimes people can even be disqualified. I mean, international students, just for this purpose. So why not just take the exam and just be on the safe side? And then there are also other exams that make you competitive for the scholarships and for, your admission. And that's standardized exams like GRE, like GMAT, and all those exams that graduate exams really. So for those of you guys applying for graduate programs, you might want to look into these examinations. As a matter of fact, some universities require that you do one or two of these exams, or one of these exams rather. So some programs require that you have a GRE, some programs require that you do a GMAT. So make sure you look into the requirements of your program. You want to have like a spreadsheet, and then just list the requirements of each program that you apply for, so that you know that you've met them. In my case, I did these exams before the cycle of admission for when I wanted to resume. So I did my GRE and I did my TOEFL, and I really performed very well in them. So when I started sending emails to the supervisors, I just attached my So I just attached my grades and the scores I had in my standardized exam and my IELTS. I attached it to my email just so that the potential supervisors see all of these things and decide if they want to take me up or not, just with one email, to make things very fast. So that's what I'll say about this. For more information about this internal graduate funding, just check out that video I talked about. And then I moved to funding from supervisors grants. I included this because this is also a good source of funding. So when I started in my second year, my supervisor told me he was a part of a particular research group, and then they have this funding for students that are under the professors. So it was a different funding from my departmental funding, right? So he encouraged me to apply, and just because he was already there, like he was a part of the group, it made it so easy for me. I just applied and I was given that scholarship in addition to my PhD funding, and that really helped me a lot, especially during the pandemic. So how do you get to know about this scholarship? Ask your supervisor, whether before you resume, that is the period after you've gotten admission, between when you get admission and when you come to Canada or to the US or wherever you're going. Ask your supervisor, are there scholarships that I qualify for just because I'm your student? Are there scholarships you can recommend to me? Are there external scholarships you can recommend to me? Make sure you ask these questions before you resume. There are many external scholarship or internal scholarship that you might have to actually apply for, and you are eligible for just because you have admission in a particular university. So if you ask, then you know about it, right? Okay, so I move on to home country scholarship, and for those guys in the UK, I feel like this is a very huge one for them. Many people from back home in Nigeria were able to get scholarship from Nigeria to study in the UK and some in European countries. So there are scholarships that you can apply from your home countries. I know China grants Chinese citizens scholarships to go abroad to study and to come back. So the only thing is that most of these scholarships have conditions attached to them. So make sure you scrutinize, look at the conditions, read through the fine lines, and be sure that you are okay with the conditions. So if you are someone that wants to come here and then wants to get a permanent residence after the program, and you are applying for a home-based scholarship that requires you to come back home and work for 3 years before you become free from the oath, the scholarship oath. So make sure you take that into consideration. Are you ready to obey the condition? You don't want to be stuck, okay? And you don't want to be dishonest. In academia, ethics is everything, integrity is everything, honestly. So you just don't want to be at that point where you want to be dishonest. Okay, so that's that about home country scholarships. And how do you get to know about these scholarships? You Google it. Google is your friend. Just keep searching. Search through Google, search online, go to your country website, like Ministry of Education, and all of those places. So go to the website and check, search. If you search on Google, this is basic now. You want to search your home country name. So if it's Taiwan, you will like Taiwan scholarship, or scholarships for Taiwanese people, or scholarship for Nigerians, or scholarship for Indians to study in the UK, scholarship for Indians to study in the US, scholarship for or you could even make it huge, scholarships for Africans, so you can search by your continent, scholarship for Africans to study in Canada, so that you get to see all the options that you have. And make sure you start doing this search before you think of applying for admission, not after. And finally, I want to talk about niche scholarship. So niche scholarship is just as I gave it that name, niche scholarship. It's not like if you go online and search niche scholarship, you might not find anything, right? But I gave it niche scholarship because it's targeted at a specific set of people. So there are lots of scholarship like that, and they are often pocket funds. They're just small pocket of funds, very small fund, $3,000, $4,000, $2,000, $1,000. But it adds up. You get 1,000 here, you get 2,000 here, you get 3,000 here, and you're growing your savings. It's helping with your income and your expenses. Okay. Example of them are scholarships targeted at visible racial minority. I got a scholarship, very small one, around 2,000 something. And the name of the scholarship was a scholarship targeted at visible minorities. I think it was even visible women minorities, or female minorities. So you must be female and you must be a visible minority. So because I'm black, I'm a black woman, I'm an African woman, and there's not a lot of us in the sciences and doing what I'm doing. So because of that, nuanced niche, I was able to get that scholarship. Okay, and it's always less, very much less competitive, because how many people are like me? Okay, so there are some targeted at indigenous women, some targeted at indigenous students, some targeted at African students, some targeted at Hispanic students, some targeted at mature women. So if you're a woman over the age of 30, you might just have a scholarship looking for you. And some are targeted for women that have had children and are just coming back to school after having a break in their studies. Some are targeted at people that have worked and are back, right? Some are targeted at people that their parents are low income earners. There are a couple of them like that. So what you can do with that is search on the internet and write your scenario. Like you can write scholarship for women, scholarship for black women, scholarship for women in tech, scholarship for women in science, scholarship for moms, scholarship for, there are some targeted at people from a specific department. I know it's scholarship targeted at women from, the person has to be a woman studying, doing a PhD in a gender-based program. So it has to be gender-based. Imagine that specificity, and there's someone that will get that, right? So this is the last thing I want to talk about, niche-based, and it's just about you searching. The money will not come to you. You have to search, but it can make a whole world of difference. I know someone, a very wonderful lady. She just finished a BSc here in Canada, and she was funded almost throughout her bachelor's program. And you see someone else getting a loan, because people think it's the norm to get a loan for your program here. So the person gets, you see most students get a loan and they don't even bother looking around. So she just keeps applying. Now she's starting a law school program at McGill, and one thing about this scholarship is that they add to your, like they make your CV, they make your CV more robust and more prestigious. They give you more prestige as an academic. Yeah, so I just want to say other tips to make yourself competitive. Grad student, I've told you about GRE, I've told you about the TOEFL. You also want to, if you're still in school, if you're still undergraduate, make sure you focus on your program. Make sure you get those grades. Do as well as you can so that you have a very good foundation. The bachelor's degree will follow you everywhere, even if you want to go to med school 20 years later. Except if your bachelor's degree has expired or something, but they will still refer to that bachelor's degree. So do it as well as you can, and then do as much extracurricular activities as you can within the bounds of sanity. As much as you can, that will not affect your grades and will not affect your mental health. So make sure there is a balance. And then for potential PhD students, apply for research internship. I applied for one of them like that, and it was a stepping stone to where I am today. So apply for them. 2 months, 1 month research training, research internship, apply for them. Then publish your work. Don't just do your thesis and leave it. Okay, take it, extract it and publish it. No matter, just try to get published. As a master's student listening to me, try to get published. As an undergraduate student, try to get published. Try to publish your undergraduate thesis, okay? And go for conferences. So even if you don't have a publication, but you've spoken at conferences, that can make all the difference for you getting the scholarships. Go for conferences, go for trainings. Okay, undergraduate student, focus on your high school, do well, get good grades, because they will evaluate all of these things. For merit-based scholarship, and also make sure you involve yourself in extracurricular activities, in community-based volunteer roles, and all of that good stuff. I hope I've been able to really explain the situation with scholarships in North America, in the US, in Canada, particularly in Canada. Till the next time, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. I put a lot of love in my videos, and I'm sure you'll find something useful in there. So subscribe. You're welcome to, feel free, check out my videos. Till the next time on this channel. Bye, guys.